Yo, what's up? This is Mikey Dab, and welcome to the Hype Report. Each week we recap the biggest stories from HYPEBEAST directly from the minds of the editorial team. I'm here to connect the dots. Let's get into this week's show.
Hey, how's it going? This is Manny, music editor at HYPEBEAST. I'm just fascinated right now with the Young Thug album. It's exciting, it's fun, no pun intended. This is definitely my favorite Young Thug project since Barter 6. This feels like easily his most complete works. And it's funny because this album isn't like a deep introspective album. It's just cohesive. It's Thug at his best. I think he's concentrated. Just listen from front to back.
Lyrically, so like I have a little issue with Thugger, as we like to say. I just don't hear anything. That's the problem. Consistency for me is very rough when listening to the album. I like the beats, fire. Like I could always be like, I guess I'll have to bop to this, but everything else is just kind of blah for me. And I think like traditional hip hop, rap, and he had mentioned about the next album being more rap and more based in rap. I don't know what that sounds like from him. I don't know. I can't even fathom what that's going to sound like from him.
The beauty about Thug is that he can rap, and he has shown moments like Da Vinci, like his song. That's like that one of the favorite songs of that when it came out. He's rapping his ass off. So he has the ability, but with Thug is that it's voice, it's the usage of his voice, and it's he also slips into one-liner now and then. So I'm not really looking, when I go to Thug, I'm not really looking for Nas-esque bars, but he's a one-of-a-kind artist that no one sounds like him.
He's definitely different. I will say different, especially in today's emerging artist scene where they all kind of sound the same. Yeah, it's an auto-tune here or just like whatever kind of drug reference they're making from here and there. It all just kind of sounds the same. But when he does come out, like last night I was doing something and I forget what song it was that came out from the new album, and I was like, oh, that's like I could identify him, and I can't identify anybody. Like new music-wise, I can't identify with a single voice. It's very difficult for me, but I guess I always stretch back to like the rap. Yeah. Like the rap part really like just infuriates me, so to speak. Like I'm just over mumble rapping. Over it. Like I'll even take like some backroom rapper. I don't even care. As long as I can hear what you're saying, I'm with it. I'm 1000% with it.
I wouldn't even say he's a mumble rapper. I just would say that he has a different type of flow. Cause I'm not comparing him to Wayne, but he's definitely a child of Wayne. Where, and that just sounds so backward, but Wayne has the ability when he uses his voice as an instrument. I think that's one of Wayne's biggest gifts, and Wayne is also one of the best rappers of all time. So he integrates that in his rhymes. But Thug, he goes to the next level with his voice as an instrument, and I think it's I appreciate that. It really isn't. This isn't an art for him, and the reason why I want to go back and say that why I think this is most cohesive work over the last couple of years. I feel like Thug has been trying to find his groove and recapture that magic. So I think from the tour part 1 to Barter 6 to I'm Up, he was untouchable. Like that dude can do no wrong. And it was just him at a high level. And I think after that, you get little spots and moments, but this project felt like a complete, like cohesive album. Honestly, it really is fun. Like the title describes the album perfectly.
Musically, okay, we're gonna let that simmer for a few minutes. Do you think his outside life or what he does in the public eye has any reflection on his music? Like I'm expecting within the next album, since he's going to be talking about his real life, that he's going to bring in some of those experiences. Do you think that's going to be tumultuous to, or I feel like it may be tumultuous to certain relationship?
Yeah, he does, like when he do these witty one-liners in the song, he sometimes touches on it, but I'm excited because when he recently interviewed with Fader for their 20th anniversary cover, he talks about punk and saying that the next album will be quote unquote real rap, and it will be him just talking about life experiences and more introspective. Because Thug, when he does do that, he shines. And like one of my favorite songs of his of all time is King Troop, which is a song off I'm Up. And it's Thug rapping about close friend that he lost, and it's a tribute song, and it's like front to back one of the best songs in this catalog. It's intoxicating, and so I am excited to hear that from Thug and to see that side, because when he wants to rap, dude can spit. Like he can rap, but you know Thug is also, he experiments a lot, and so I love that about him. And like I think some of it was hit or miss, but I love that he actually is experiencing.
Well, if he raps on the next record, I may have to give it a much more in-depth look or listen, and then travel back in time. Is what's going to happen. Because obviously you got like your radio hits that you listen to, of course, and you're like, But if you're going to rap, I'll give it an actual. I'll actually care.
Yeah, and I do think I would say just I'm excited for Punk, but I'm like really love so much fun because it like the title really says it completely. This album is front to back, has some of the best of the year for me, best musical moments of the year for me. Just like listening to Hot with Gunna on it and the drums, and then just Gunna shines in these features. When he just comes in for a feature, he shines. And so like just that moment and just listening to him with Juice WRLD and in the song with Future, all these tracks are just, it was just like, man, so much to love about this project. And you just play it and just let it rock. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate just albums I can just play at the front to back with my friends. I don't need to change anything, and it just like sets the mood for the night. I guess it's a nighttime turn up album, but but yeah, I appreciate that just because it's, you know, I'm just happy that Thug like making great music, you know, because I was worried when like I felt like he was just doing a lot, and now it's just like this
getting caught up in everything else.
Yeah, this is the Thug that everyone wanted to see and is waiting, and everyone loved. Like when he's locked in, he's one of the best right now.
All right, thanks for stopping in, Manny.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, man.
If you want to stay up on the latest music news, check out Hypebeast Music on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/music.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bob Marshall, senior editor over at HYPEBEAST, of course, covering mostly footwear and sports, some sportswear, and a bunch of randomness. This week, we're going to talk a bit about the undefeated Nike Zoom Kobe 4 Protro Pack.
That is a long-winded sentence, I will say that.
Hella syllables for sure. The big reason why we're talking about this is because it's Mama Day, August 24th. Undefeated created 4 Kobe 4s, Protros, which doing a little bit of research there. Kobe kind of came up with that, the Protro.
Did he?
Yeah, it's just a nickname for basically combining performance, professional performance, quoting that, air quotes, and retro. So it's pretty cool. This
Undefeated's known for dropping some pretty good shoes, though. I will say that.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, they've been collaborating with Kobe for a couple years now on bringing back some of his earlier silhouettes. And the Kobe 4 is a special one because it's the first one in kind of his low cut phase, and that's really where his Nike line really took off. And it was with this shoe.
I will say I played basketball for a very small amount of time in my younger years. Low cut was never the thing for me.
Right.
As an adult, I will. It's hard for me to wear like a high cut basketball sneaker, but low cut is fire for lifestyle, so to speak. Not even playing ball.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Before Kobe, there was really only, I think it was Mike Bibby and Steve Nash were really the bigger advocates of low cut sneakers. But at that time, while they were both exceptional guards, you know, Steve Nash was a 2-time MVP back-to-back. They weren't particularly the guys in the league at that time.
You always have that premier athlete.
Yeah,
that's like,
at that time it was definitely Kobe was that guy. LeBron was coming into his own. I think he won back-to-back MVPs during these years too. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, it was a move where, like you said, a premier athlete was championing a low-cut basketball sneaker that, you know, before Steve and Mike Bibby, you know, you'd pretty much see those in like the superstars from like the 60s and 70s. That was kind of, and like the Ralph Sampsons.
Nice high sock.
Yeah, where it was like they were real low cut sneakers, but obviously that was well before the technology we have today.
Before they knew how bad it was for your ankles.
Right, right. I mean, that same year, Kobe killed it. He had a stellar year, averaging almost like 30 a game, took the Lakers to the finals. This was post-Shaq, and they won the finals, beating my Orlando Magic. Unfortunately, that was a killer. But he destroyed us, and I think from there it was like kind of set in stone, like, oh, this shoe does work. And, you know, he was working with, at that time, his designer was still Eric Avar, and he really just asked him, hey, Kobe has been a long-time soccer fan, football fan, growing up in overseas in like Italy. So he was playing that as a young kid, and he really wanted to find a way for his shoe to elevate his game to be quicker, faster, lighter on his feet, kind of hit those lateral movements,
pivot points.
Those pivot points, absolutely. That's one of his greatest parts of his latter years was being able to do things like that in the post and move around without the ball. And
so the shoes that they're dropping, the four of them, they're based off or for four different players, correct? If I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, that is a bit of a.
I was confused by it.
Yeah, it is. Because a lot of the blogs, and ourselves included, are going off of the news that, they're inspired or kind of a tribute to Kobe ambassadors, players that are currently in the league that have or, had worn Kobe's for a long time. Like the green ones are Giannis.
Yes.
But Giannis has his own shoe now. Devin Booker of the Suns, which is that kind of reddish purple colorway. And you have the Kobe colorway, Kyle Kuzma kind of signature a little bit. He's always worn Kobe's. And DeMar DeRozan, which is like the Hyper Jade teal colorway.
Which is, I think, my favorite one, not going to lie to you.
I think the green one's pretty dope. But I do agree that one's the Hyper Jade teal joint is pretty fire. But at the same time, Undefeated has been touting them as being inspired by iconic Kobe moments.
That was my immediate assumption based on the shoe itself. I was like, okay, well, we're going to go by Kobe on this. And then I saw the names pop up, and I was a little confused. I was like, okay, so which one are we going with on this?
Yeah, I think the biggest confusion is the Hyper Jade is a bit teal. So if it's inspired by DeMar, he plays for the Spurs, and they're black and gray. Yeah. So that is a bit odd. And if it is... So the Hyper Jade is the one that's just kind of like the confusing one that makes it a bit weird. Because it's inspired by Kobe moments, and the Suns make sense because he killed them for years in the playoffs. The Bucks one is a bit odd too. I've read some stories that the Bucks had wanted to draft Kobe early on too, so there was talks about that. Maybe there might be a bit of a story there. And obviously the Lakers one makes sense too. Again, it's the Hyper J one. It's just kind of like the outlier here. That's
the diamond in the rough.
Yeah, exactly.
Scratch the surface on that bad boy.
Yeah, and they drop Friday as a full pack. You can get them as a full pack, which is wild.
The other thing that's crazy, $700 pack. Like, if you want these Kobe's, just I get it though.
Yeah, because it's only happening in those are dropping as a full pack only in the La Brea store, Undefeated's La Brea store, which again makes sense because there's a buttload of Kobe fans, right? So it's like those guys will come out for sure for that. And then Saturday you can cop them individually at $180 a pop, and you can also pick up some apparel.
I think I'm actually getting a steal for the $700.
Yeah, you might actually. I mean, to be quite honest, they still perform very well. A lot of athletes, a lot of pro hoopers were wearing them this year. Like DeMar was wearing those Undefeateds during the season. PJ Tucker as well. Like these PJ sneakers.
Tucker wears everything.
That's very true. Yeah. But they still perform very well, and I think that's the kind of the point here. These sneakers were so ahead of their time and they still perform exceptionally well. At the same level as some of the other ones.
A testament to them. Yeah.
Certainly, and testament to Kobe.
Yeah. Thank you for stopping in today, Bob. Always a pleasure.
Already.
Taps on the mic. You already know.
Peace. All right. Thanks, guys.
For the latest in footwear news, you can check out HYPEBEAST Kicks on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/footwear.
Yo, it's Keith Estiller, our editor at HYPEBEAST.
What are we talking about today in the art world?
So there is this artist named Ronnie Van Hout who installed this 16-foot tall giant hybrid hand sculpture in this gallery called City Gallery in Wellington, New Zealand. And since then, the people in the town of Wellington have been having some mixed reactions of the way this hand looks.
Very nicely put, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I read some of those tweets.
What are your thoughts on it?
It's weird. It's definitely weird. Like the placement's weird. The fact that he used his body parts, his face and his hand to create this thing. And like the placement, it's just like on the edge of the top of the building. Like it's an eyesore. Like, sometimes art is like leading, like it leads your eye into a direction and you feel a certain way. I'm just like, what? What's going on? It's confusing, actually. Just there's nothing else around it. And if you look up at it, there's nothing behind it. Like I take pictures, so like I'm looking for some kind of background. There's nothing there. It's just a dude's face on a hand. It's crazy.
I know, and a lot of people in social media have been making references that the sculpture, the face, looks like President Donald Trump.
I I'm okay. So I'm gonna roll that back just a titch, and so I looked at it and I was like, "Is this Donald Trump?" That was my immediate assumption before I read the article, and I was looking for the Donald Trump reference, and I was like, "Okay, so he used his body parts. Where are the Donald Trump body parts?" Like I was literally just looking for that in there, and then I realized that's not what happened here.
I think just like the portrait itself of that he embellished in the hand just sort of has the same likeness as Donald Trump, but he did mention in the gallery statement saying that it's a partial self-portrait of him. And with this artist, it's about him creating these little portraits that sort of like resemble himself. So he adds everything in himself to any sculptures that he's been working on.
That can be misinterpreted very easily, though. Because at first I was like, okay, if it's 16 foot, maybe he's using small digital prints of himself, like in different poses, and that's what makes up the paint kind of the entire piece. No, it's just fingers and a face. Like,
The weird, uncanny thing about this, it's not even about how the sculpture looks, is that this sculpture was made for this tragic earthquake that happened at this town called Christchurch. And he installed it there, I think, for the public. And I've just been trying to find some research as to why this particular sculpture was chosen as like a public sculpture to kind of be in memoriam of that situation.
Yeah, like how does that correlate one to the other?
I think maybe if I were to assume, it's probably just to sort of bring some lightness and laughter to a community that has had this sort of, it's very harsh incident.
In his defense and the artwork's defense, there was one young lady who said that it does make her laugh every time she looks up. So anything that makes her laugh is, acceptable. That's fine.
Yeah.
There's one.
And there is another person that takes social media who is just completely frantic about the whole thing and was like, what is this F-bomb doing in this town kind of thing? So what I like about art is that it triggers a lot of like reactions, especially when it comes to like shock art, because I think this is shock art, absurdist art that really gets you to react to something. And I feel that art is normally like a mirror to society. So maybe this artist installing this creation is calling out maybe some sort of like contemporary sort of like issue that we have right now in like modern day society. Gotcha. That's what I assume.
I'm following along with you. I'm just trying to think what it could possibly be. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm like, all right, well, I get it, because a lot of times, like, we spoke about the Jim Carrey thing.
Yes,
like,
you did.
And it made sense to me. Like, okay, the art brings out a certain feeling, and it's very reactionary, and you're like, okay, I feel what he's saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't get that feeling. This is one of those times where I'm just like, you know what? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I hate to kind of feel like I'm coming from left field looking at someone else's art, because it's subjective. You're like, oh, you could like it or you don't have to like it. Yeah. But like you said, in reference to the earthquake and then to the actual setting and where the piece is actually located, it just all feels so weird.
With this piece of art, we are getting a lot of traction, and I think that's something to say about just like people just reacting, reactionary art, and it really shows even in like social media. People don't need to be there physically to kind of react to an artwork, and this is what this artwork does.
The picture says enough.
And what's another fact about this is that it's going to be on top of that rooftop in that gallery for the next 3 years.
Sick. For the latest in art and design news, follow HYPEBEAST Art on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/art.
Hey, I'm Isaac, associate editor for HYPEBEAST. Handle usually entertainment, gaming, tech topics. We're talking about this ongoing story about Sony and Marvel Studios and Spider-Man and the IP no longer being shared between the two studios and Spider-Man no longer showing up in future Marvel movies and Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige no longer co-producing the solo films.
Okay, so I'm double dutching in immediately on this. I went through this with Deathpool. I was very distraught, and then we got a very good movie. I was very happy. Ryan Reynolds, extremely elated with that. After this last, or I don't even know what they're calling it. What are they calling it for the MC universe? For Guardians of the Galaxy, like this first tier is done. We're moving into phase 2?
Phase 4.
Phase 4, so
Well, this is phase 4 we're going into now. So I guess after Guardians, that would be like phase.
Okay, so now moving forward with phase 4, we're not going to have Spider-Man after we had this whole emotional breakthrough with Tony Stark and the kid, and he's there, and he's supposed to take over. Like, and how do you do this? And I feel like it's a money grab. I definitely feel like it's a money grab for the character just because they know how strong he is.
Well, here's the thing. Far From Home became Sony's best-selling movie ever. It beat out Skyfall, which was the 007 movie. And I feel like it is like a kind of a strong arm move. So Disney has D23 coming out this weekend, which is where they go into like what we have planned for like Marvel news, and this is probably why Comic-Con announcements were so scarce, because they had this coming up. So Sony chose now to like sort of make this public. Well, it came out public. People think it's Sony that did this just so they'd have a little bit of leverage and like fan reaction in regards to like contracts, because it's all money. It's all contracts.
There's going to be a mutiny. They want people to just storm the streets wearing Spider-Man costumes. That's what's the eventuality here.
Well, that's the thing. Fan outrage has gotten so big that it's like becoming a meme at this point. So like the Area 51 Storm Area 51 thing is like a Storm Sony Studios thing, and it's like but whatever.
I'm joining. I'm just letting you know now I'm joining.
But basically the thing is Marvel Studios wanted half of all revenue from future Spider-Man films. Their initial deal was 5% of first week revenue, and got all the money for like toys and merchandising and stuff like that. It was a cool deal for
a little while.
For Marvel, it was a cool deal for Marvel. It was a better deal for Sony. They got free publicity. They got Kevin Feige to come in on the solo movies, but became the largest property that Sony has, and Marvel felt like they were part of that, and so they wanted more than 5%, which is understandable. People are saying, but the deal is half.
I mean, you went from 5 to what have you done for me lately? That's a little insane. I'm insensitive, so to speak, especially if like that's like their staple thing. But like they're willing to work with you at the end of the day. Like, okay, fine. So you want more? How much more do you want? You half. That's not even reasonable. That's we just want to take it from you, but we know you're not going to take that, so we're going to give you an offer that sounds like we're trying to give you an offer when really we're just trying to take it from you.
Basically, the studio, like no studio would be able to say yes to a 50-50 deal like that.
No way.
And there's rumors that there was like Sony came back with an offer going, we can do 30-70.
And that's still really, really good.
Yes.
That's really good. Like that, people I don't think understand. Like 50-50 is, well, that sounds great. We robbed a bank together. We're doing 50-50. Great. Yeah, see? But 70-30 is a fantastic split just internationally, globally. The amount of money that the movie pulls in, that's fantastic.
And it was an obvious no, and conversations just broke down, and it's left a lot of people in really awkward positions. Sony had to come out publicly with a statement because the narrative was basically Sony didn't give them a deal and Marvel just walked away. But Sony came out and said, Marvel made this decision. They didn't want to keep going with our initial plan or re-up on our initial deal. And so we're sorry to see Kevin Feige go.
Oh, because his schedule was so busy. Wasn't that the other thing that they tried to say? Like, he's got a lot of things going on, so he can't really give all his attention to... What? What are you insane?
Yeah, people were calling that out too. It's like, Kevin Feige isn't the only person that can make Marvel movies. So a lot of speculations coming about on like if negotiations have like started up again, given just the backlash of like fan reaction.
I mean, it could just be buzz, like them building organic buzz. It's like when an album's coming out and like two rappers beef. Like, oh no, something's going on, and all of a sudden, like, oh, who is that guy? And you start listening to his music, and you got an album coming out. Like, it could be like, we're going to make a really big announcement, so now you guys are going to be in uproar. So when we make it, everybody's ears are going to be tuned in.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty much thinking. I'm thinking it is what fans are thinking it is. It's basically just because the timing, like I was saying.
It doesn't make sense.
D23 is coming up next. Spider-Man is advertised on D23 banners. So I don't know if it was like Sony went to Deadline, who broke this story, and just trying to put pressure on Marvel, given the fan reaction. At least that's what I'm hearing. The rumors are that's what they did, and it kind of backfired, and they had to come out with that statement.
To cover their tracks.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this whole deal, because it was amazing to happen in the first place, two studios coming together for a sole property. That was just amazing in itself, and it lasted a lot longer than
anybody expected it to.
Sure, exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if a deal, rehashes out of this. We still don't know how Tom Holland feels about this. He's super tight with all the Marvel like actors. There's rumors that, you know, he had a lot of like future contract deals and he was in line for like a raise. He was gonna have a bigger lead in the next Avengers movie, obviously is what they're setting him up for. Sony felt like they could strong arm him, like, you're setting this kid up, he's not really your property, what happens if we take him away? Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna need him.
You gotta show me the money.
Yeah. It's more of like what's right for the fans. But at the end of the day, it's really about these two entities is money.
Absolutely.
And producing credits. And that's what the real discrepancy seems to be about. If it, in Sony's statement, they were like, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about the conversations we're having. So
it's really about money. I don't know what you guys are so worried about. Like, at the end of the day, we're just worried about getting paid. So stop it with the Spider-Man talk. We're just trying to shake the tree and see what kind of money falls out of it.
Basically.
Yeah, I get you. Thanks for stopping by, Isaac.
Thank you, sir.
For the latest in entertainment news, follow HYPEBEAST on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/entertainment.
This is Felson Sahanis, senior editor at HYPEBEAST.
Chilling, what's going on, Felson? What are we talking about today?
So I guess one of the biggest stories in terms of fashion this week is the Supreme Fall Winter 2019. The lookbook came out, all the products we've already posted about, and the first drop happened yesterday in store, and the online drop will happen on Monday. So I guess one of the things that we can go through is one of the big ticket items is the burner phone.
Didn't see that one.
Right? So for me, the burner phone with the company Blue, which is a U.S. company, by the way, based in Miami, I feel to me is a response of the whole debacle between Samsung and the fake Supreme company. So I think, just to put it lightly, maybe a middle finger to like the tech giants. And it's a very Supreme move to, you know, come out with a burner phone versus like, you know, one of the bigger, you know, tech companies who makes like these, you know, tech forward phones, you know, like glossy screens and all that. So like the burner phone, which is kind of like, you know, kind of like a no frills gadget for the
corner boys.
The corner boy. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's for the corner boys.
It's a corner boys thing. But for me, it's like such a Supreme move. It's tongue in cheek and it's very appropriate. And I don't know about you, but it's something I'm excited about.
I kind of want one.
Yeah.
I kind of want one.
Right?
Not gonna lie to you.
And so I guess we could go through like some facts about the phone because we wrote about it. We posted about, you know, what's the deal with this phone? Like people are excited about it, but what are they really buying?
From a street perspective, like we know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we know that Supreme is usually pretty good at telling people to go, you know, stick it where the sun doesn't shine, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So like when a collection comes out, like either the art is going to be kind of crazy or it's going to be, was it the Christ Piss tea? Like most people didn't realize that it was a cross inside of a glass of urine. Like, they're like, oh, what's going on? It's exactly what it sounds like. Exactly what it is. So like every season you're looking for that staple piece that's kind of like, wow, they really did that. Burner phone doesn't say that too loudly, but it also says it very subliminally. Yeah. Like you just mentioned, like most people don't realize that obviously we have a tech giant kind of issue with, which Supreme was it?
Supreme Italia.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay.
Just to give like a little background on this company Blue, actually BLU stands for Bold Like Us. So that's their like kind of company motto as well. It was founded by Samuel Oheb Zion, which he started in 1995, but it wasn't until 2010 that he actually started the Blue Company. So the actual phone itself, the Supreme phone, looks like it's going to be their 2.4, Zoe 2.4 model. Again, no frills phone. There's no apps, no Wi-Fi.
Do you think it'll have Snake on it? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if that phone comes out with Snake on it, I definitely want it.
You know what? I mean, if there's the capability to like download something, it does have a browser.
I don't see why I wouldn't.
Right?
Snake. I just want to sit on the phone and just chase little dots. That's it.
I mean, hey, I'm all for high scores, you know, on Snake. But again, like some of the specs on this thing is just a standard camera with an LED flash, MP3, MP4 player. Let's go. Wow. Radio FM. And like I said, a browser. It is Bluetooth capable, so maybe like your, you know, wireless.
My AirPods up to it. I mean, if I need to.
So, I mean, that's pretty much it.
In every sense of the word, it is a burner phone.
Yes.
It's meant to be thrown after a week's use.
Yes. But the thing is, the founder of the company, he kind of like, I guess, defends the fact that this is our prepaid phones in general are more than just burner phones. But in the context of street culture, it is from just watching The Wire, Breaking Bad.
We're just speculating here.
Yeah.
We're just speculating what a burner phone is.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first, I don't want to tell how old I am, but when I first got a phone, it was basically a burner phone. Like, I had a pre-K. My mom was like, "You got to pay for your own cards. You got to do your own thing." Like, I didn't realize I was running around with a burner phone. I was like, this is my phone, and I use cards on it.
Yeah. So from what the founder said, there's the street context, but the more practical sense is like, when you travel, you can just buy a prepaid and not have to worry about incurring charges. For people who may have low credit or are on a budget in terms of their monthly cell phone bill, prepaid phones are a great option, And as you mentioned, when you were young, you had it. Your parents probably just, hey, here's a phone. Let me manage your screen time. Don't be on those apps. Don't be on Instagram. Here's a phone. Call me when you need me to pick you up. So, I mean, that's pretty much it in my view of the burner phone, quote unquote.
It has a good feel to it, though. Red and black, you can't go wrong.
But I'm excited.
There's actually a couple of really good pieces in there.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see a bunch of young adults wearing Mary J. Blige, who they're probably not familiar with.
Yes. Let's go through that. Mary J. Blige, iconic, dubbed the queen of hip hop and R&B. Lots of collaborations, Grammy-winning artist. So for me, in terms of Supreme's past music collabs, NWA, Nas, Gucci Mane, Morrissey, Madonna, I think this falls right in line with Supreme.
It's what you were expecting them to do, which is fine.
Yeah, New York native, Mary J. Blige, award-winning actress as well. To me, it's like an appropriate thing. And I think Mary J. Blige is actually going to be honored at the next BET Awards for a Lifetime Achievement Award.
For being Mary J. Blige.
For being Mary J.
That's all you have to do. Like, you're Mary J. Okay, you're good to go.
Yeah. And just in terms of like the breadth of her accomplishments and just the tracks, like, I'm going down, Be Happy, Not Gonna Cry, Waiting to Exhale, soundtrack, all right? And my favorite, I'll Be There For You, You're All I Need with Method Man, Not Gonna Front.
Yeah, there's probably a laundry list of songs from Mary J. Blige that most people that'll be wearing this T-shirt are unaware of.
Well, that's one of the points I wanted to bring up because, like, a lot of what Supreme brings out in terms of those portrait tees, especially with music artists that is for the older generation, like Morrissey and Sade. Like some of the kids today may not know it, but they want the T-shirt. Like obviously, whether it terms to resell or really rock it, like for the diehard fans.
Yeah.
But make no bones about it. It's not like Supreme needs to educate, the kids. It's more like, here's the tee, Mary J. Blige tee. You may not know her, but do some justice. Listen to the songs for yourself.
I definitely think that is the one positive that comes out of it. Like, they're going to have to, nobody wants to get caught with their pants down, so to speak. So, like, they're wearing the T-shirt, like, oh, give me a Mary J. Blige song. So they're going to go look. They're going to go research. They're going to go listen. Yeah. So, like, that's the one bonus for that. Like, if you watch any of those scenarios, like, oh, it's Supreme. I walk up to kids all the time, and I'm like, oh, you're wearing that T-shirt? Because I'm kind of sarcastic. Yeah. I'm like that. I'm like, so who's that on your T-shirt? It'll be like Nirvana. I'm like, well, you should probably go look into that, buddy. So, like, nobody wants to fall into that auspice. Like, oh, yeah, I know what I'm wearing. Who is that? I don't know.
I mean, of course, the true fans, if you know, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but just the initial lookbook, like, I think the pieces are more well thought out in terms of detail, especially the prints. I feel like they've gone a little bit outside the box in terms of prints. There's like the artist collabs. There's the, Paisley prints, animal prints.
Oh, the box logo is Paisley print this year. I forgot.
Yeah. And I'm excited about the collaborations, but, that's never really revealed until it comes out. So
till the week of, when you're like, wonder what it is. And then you like have to fight 300 people to get it. All right, great.
So I'm already saying it's the best collection yet. But in terms of, I haven't seen possible North Face, possible Comme des Garçons, possible Levi's, possible Champion. So, I mean, for me, it's just, I like the mix, the sporty, the on-trend stuff, the usual, like, real street stuff when it comes to Supreme. But what are you excited about?
I'm not going to lie. I like to walk in there 3 days after a Thursday of a release and then see what's left.
Oh.
Because I like the more basic. I'm not, a young man out here trying to make a statement with my clothes. Like, I just like the simple, clean stuff. So if you got a nice button down, you got a jacket. Like, I have more jackets than anything.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, just the unbranded stuff are the best stuff that nobody buys.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much wraps things up for Supreme Fall Winter 19.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping. I'm sure we'll talk about this again at some point.
Oh, I know.
I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. There'll be more Supreme talks I could feel it.
All right, catch you later.
Thank you.
For the latest in fashion and style, follow Hypebeast Style on Instagram or go to hypebeast.com/fashion. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of The Hype Report. You can find out more about the show and listen to other episodes on hypebeast.com/radio. You can subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. Leave a comment and let us know what you think about this week's topics. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Mikey Dab, and that's 2 B's. And shout out to the editorial team. I'm Mikey Dab, and thanks for listening to The Hype Report. Any comment, opinion, or suggestion made by any person contained in this episode does not represent Hypebeast in any way, and those genuinely are their individual, personal opinion and thoughts towards the topic shared.